Exodus 18:1 to Exodus 20:23. That's Exodus 18:1 to Exodus 20:23 is the instruction for this Shabbat day. All praises once again to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all right, for giving us this convocation and blessing all of you to make it here safely and blessing you out throughout the week. You know, we know that our protection, our guidance, our deliverance come by way of the Most High God, the power of Israel. Let's get Colossians 3, verse 17. Let's start with that. Giving all praise to the Most High, you know, in the name of the Mashiach Yahushua.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him.
Right, everything we do it in the name, you know, in the name of Yahushua, giving all praise to Yahweh, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the creator of all things, the one true God, all right, who given us Yahushua as a blessing unto us, that we in these last days can repent, come back to the Most High, you know, whose blood was spilled for our, you know, our remission, you know, remission of our sins. That we had to come to the Most High, we had to learn the Torah, you know, through Yahushua, all right, through the sacrifice. All right, give me Acts 5 and verse 29. Real quick, give me Acts 5 and verse 29.
The book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey the Most High rather than men. The power of our fathers.
It's like, yeah. Start with 20. Yeah, start with verse 20.
The book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 20. Go, stand and speak in the temple to the people. All the words of this life.
Come on.
And when they heard that, they entered into the temple early in the morning and taught. But the high priest came, and they were with him, and called the council together, and all the senate of the children of Israel, and sent to the prison to have them brought. But when the officers came and found them not in prison,
right,
they returned and told, saying, the prison truly found we shut with all safety, and the keepers standing without before the doors. But when we had opened, we found no man within.
Read.
Now when the high priest came, when the high priest and the captain of the temple and the chief priests heard these things, they doubted of them, whereunto this would grow. Then came one and told them, saying, behold, the men whom you put in prison are standing in the temple.
Right, so now, who was in? Peter is in the prison, was put in prison. So they went to go, you know, deal with them in the prison, whereas they ain't even in there. The guards are standing where the guards are supposed to be. The prison door is shut, where the prison door was supposed to be shut. But Peter was not in there, right? They couldn't believe it. The high priest couldn't believe it. Captains came out, they couldn't believe it. Read on.
Then went the captain with the officers and brought them without violence, for they feared the people, lest they should have been stoned. And when they brought them, they set them before the council. And the high priest asked them, saying, did we straitly command you that you should not teach in this name?
Right.
And behold, ye have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine, and intend to bring this man's blood upon us.
Right, so what? They were taught to what? They were told not to what? Teach what? What scriptures? Yahushua. They were showing Yahushua in the scriptures. And they said, don't teach this what? Doctrine. All right. They said, weren't you told not to teach this doctrine, this understanding? Okay. They didn't want this to be spoken. Because they know when you speaking this, it's going to take power out of the hands of the high priest. Because now everybody's what? They follow of what? Follow of Yahushua, follow of Christ. That would weaken the church. right? They're weak in the temple, weak in the synagogue, weak in all the people that have position, because now no longer will the people be looked at as the door to the Most High, but Yahushua is the door. Read on.
Verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey the Most High rather than men.
Right, so he said, listen, yeah, you told us not to teach it, but we ought to obey the Most High rather than men. Everybody understand that? So there's a lot of things where people may not want you to say. They say, well, this is not why you got to mention that? Right? But we ought to obey the Most High rather than man. If the Most High said we got to teach his word, we want to teach his word as it is written, huh? We're not gonna sugarcoat it. We're not gonna worry about whose feelings might get hurt. Right? We're gonna teach the word as it is written, as the Father instructed us. Read on.
Verse 30. The power of our fathers raised up Yahushua,
right?
Whom he slew and hanged on a tree.
Right. He said, so he went on to tell him, listen, the God reached the power of our fathers. Who's our fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The power of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he rose up Yahushua. Yahushua didn't raise up himself. Yahushua is not God. He's not the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's Yahweh. He rose up Yahushua. So he's letting them know, Peter letting them know, listen, the same God you claim to believe in and serve is the same God that rose up Yahushua. So why y'all coming at us? Read on.
Him hath the Most High exalted.
Read 30 again.
Verse 30. The power of our fathers raised up Yahushua, whom he slew and hanged on a tree.
Who you, what? Slew and hung on a tree. What does it mean? Why did he say that they slew and hung him on a tree? What's that talking about? What did they do? They what? Who? Because you just as bad. The person that called 911 is just as